Yeah, so do we want to talk about Tom Cruise first, or do we want to talk about why I didn't get invited to do Andrew McCarthy?
Oh,
Oh, let's
wow.
talk Andrew McCarthy first. I want to hear the rant.
You
Let's hear it.
know, I am like, I don't even understand that one. When did you guys do that? Seriously. Was I at Comic Con then? Or was that before?
I remember there was a situation where I was at the lake house. I
Yeah.
had nothing going on,
Hmm.
and I don't remember if it was a reach out to everybody to see if they're free,
Hmm.
but it was one of those deals where it was kind of like, I'm open tonight. Is anybody available to chat?
Right.
And when Scott, answered the call, the bat signal,
Hmm.
and we got online, and it started a discussion as to, well, we need to do, we could do another Icon show,
Right.
and it was like, well, who do we cover? And it was just going back and forth. And in fact, if you listen to, we landed on talking about um, Matthew Broderick pretty
Hmm.
easily. We jumped right into that.
Right.
And then what I wanted to do is have a conversation. I feel like I'm like getting myself out of trouble with my mom. I don't know why.
Oh, good. Because that's exactly how I wanted to feel.
Oh,
Continue.
oh, all right. Sorry, mom. Here it is. Um, so, I reach out to, and I'm in trouble. Scott should be in trouble. What the hell?
I didn't
Anyway,
say either one of you were not in trouble, actually, because you're the overlord. You make
oh,
things
it,
happen. I want to hear it. You're the oldest. You should be setting an
uh,
example.
oh, okay, all right. So how it went down was we had the discussion between Matthew Broderick, and we had the ability to record more. I
Hmm.
wanted to do a lady actress,
Hmm.
and we couldn't decide on one. We actually had IMDb up, and if you listen to the bumper after the bumper discussion on Matthew Broderick,
Hmm.
that was a conversation that we had in between the two shows.
Right.
So where that conversation ended, the Andrew McCarthy podcast picks up. So
Oh.
you'll hear us go round and round around who we're going to talk about next. And we finally landed on talking about Andrew because at that time it was just kind of like we were going through all these different options. We'd bring up somebody, we would pull up IMDb, we would talk about them briefly, and then we would go, there's really not enough to talk about that person. And then we just ended up landing on talking about Andrew.
Mm.
So it wasn't a preconceived, planned thing at all. It just kind of happened.
Wasn't like a Rose isn't here, and I know she's a really big fan of Andrew McCarthy. Let's do a show without her.
Especially
No, no,
Mannequin.
Especially Mannequin. Absolutely.
I remember you mentioning Mannequin before, so I remember yeah, that's
Good.
popping into my mind. I'm like, oh, we didn't include her. But you know what? I believe it was back on July 8th, and I was the
oh,
only one that responded.
Trying to think what I did on July 8th. I'm sure there was a reason why I couldn't.
It was right after I came back from vacation. I'm looking at the thing. Dave said, anyone
Yeah,
free to record reboot show tonight based on availability, blah, blah, blah. Topic.
probably said no.
yeah,
Someone had been interested
yeah,
in talking about a specific TV show or movie. I can be open. And then we talked because we both agreed that we were available. And then
right.
we started talking and we went into the Matthew Broderick thing and then led into Andrew McCarthy, which you got to listen to the, like Dave said, the bumper between the two. Like after Matthew Broderick and then going into Andrew McCarthy, because we had a lot of fun going in there in between those
Yeah.
two. That was fun stuff.
And so it was a good, I don't know, probably 15, 20 minutes in between the
Yes.
two shows of trying to decide who we're going to talk about next. And it was just great random conversation. And that's why I included it, because it was, talking about the various stars of the 80s. And it was kind of like, oh no, that person hasn't done enough, and oh, okay, well, and it was like I was trying to push Michelle Pfeiffer on him, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah, and I wasn't
Uh,
ready for Michelle Pfeiffer because I didn't think I knew enough about her, and then I did a little research, and we decided, well, she is something that I can talk about, so that's how
but
we ended up that way.
but that night though, didn't we go into that thinking we were going to be talking about the stars that stand by me?
We did.
What happened
Nice.
to that idea?
No, that was a different night because
Okay.
Rose wasn't. What was it? Something was wrong with you weren't getting your messages through Twitter or something like that. Something wasn't going down. Something wasn't communicating with you properly on through the internet or something.
Yeah.
And we were
Okay.
about to start. Dave and I were about to start talking about Stand By Me, and Rose chimes in at the last minute and says, "Hey, I'm available. Let's do it." And so we started. That's when we started with Outsiders.
We started the Outsiders, right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So that's when we went in to see Thomas Howell and Ralph Macchio and so on and so forth. Okay. Memories.
All right, so are we out of trouble, or are we more or into more trouble now?
No.
It was
It
an
wasn't-
accident.
Yeah, it was definitely a oversight. Realizing that there was we should have realized that there was certain stars that should be off limits, and that should have been one, unless you were on the phone with us.
You're forgiven.
So on behalf of Scott, I'm sorry.
Thanks,
Apology
Dave.
accepted.
I appreciate that.
Oh, that was hysterical.
Oh.
Oh, thank you. That was
No
cool.
problem.
Oh, so to recap, as far as Less Than Zero,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that was not supposed to have a happy ending at all. There was so much drug use that, it just had skyrocketed in the 80s. There's just so much crap going on. And the way someone had explained it to me before, it's like nobody cared when it was the downtrodden and the bums and the poor people that were dying of drug overdoses, because that was kind of like their fate, so to speak. But when the rich kids and the affluent started doing it, it was like, oh my God, we must stop this horrible tragedy and start a war on drugs type of a thing. And, I thought, I don't really think that's it. I think, it's a tragedy against all humanity. But if someone had an opportunity to create it as, art and say, okay, well, this is what happens to you when you get too far out there, and even your friends can't save you, then, you're done. And truthfully, if that would have had an ending, as I can't remember which one of you suggested what if it would happen if he didn't die, then what would have been the point? It was you, yeah. What would have been the point? Seriously, it might as well have been an after-school special. So I think Less Than Zero had to be as hardcore as it was, because
so in your view, Robert Downey Jr. had to die.
he did. There was just no two ways about it. He was just too far gone.
Huh. Okay. So
I mean,
there's
we
no
hated
way,
seeing
shape,
it.
or form, even if we, with the reimagining that I put in there, let's say he, for whatever reason it was decided that he lived, then you're saying that movie wouldn't have had the impact that it had.
No, not at all.
Fair enough.
Okay, just saying.
I'm listening to you. My only point though was, because when we were talking about Less Than Zero, it was one of those that we didn't really want to talk about a lot of because it wasn't one of those movies that was very happy or had a nicer side to it. It was like one of those.
It took me about 25 years to watch it again.
Yeah,
when I first saw that movie, I was like, "Whoa, really?"
Yeah, and so it's
but I was also in my 20s too, so here we are, and I'm 50 plus, and you've seen a little bit of the world and you've experienced some things, you kind of go, yeah, it sucks, but, it happens, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so my point was, it's a powerful movie. It's very impactful, but it's not one of those that you're revisiting all the time because, because of the tone of the movie and because when you've seen it once, you know what happens, and so you're not going to be I've got to go see Lesson Zero again.
Right.
And you guys are cracking me up. I'm thinking over here. I'm thinking, I'm feeling kind of down today. You know what's a really good pick-me-up movie? Lesson Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we just pop in Schindler's List too? Schindler's List, Lesson Zero. All these really great, happy-go-lucky movies.
Like Dracula would say something like that, Oh my God. Such a bummer of a day. Oh, watch Robert Downey Jr. die in Lesson Zero. It always cheers me up. Which it does.
Yes.
But the irony of it, which if you knew his history, OMG, it's like, dude, it's just like a mirror of your life here. It's like, how would you even play a part like that, knowing what the outcome is? I suppose the ultra irony would be that it had like absolutely no effect on him until later on. So,
right.
Weird. So, yeah, life imitates art, or vice versa. Art imitates life.
Yeah, I guess my point was just, if they changed that part of it, would it be one of those movies that you would revisit over and over again? And that's kind of what I was asking.
Right.
Or getting to. And to your point, if they changed that fact, it wouldn't have the impact that it had, and maybe it would be one of those that you wouldn't be interested in revisiting anyway because it wasn't a very impactful movie. I don't know. So, where do we go from there? Do we start talking about Tom?
We should.
Let's talk about Born on the 4th of July, because, that's a good uplifting movie, too.
I've never seen it.
Oh, really? It's pretty heavy.
I can name all the crews of movies I've never seen. I'll start with Endless Love, and then move on to All the Right Moves, and Losin It, and then Color of Money. I got a whole list here. It's probably half of them. It's only half of them I've seen. But ask me how many times I've seen them. Lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, big Tom Cruise fan in the 80s.
I agree. So, let's
do this.
Should we start it?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
What the hell is that?
Are you drinking scotch again?
No. It'd be
Dave,
Irish.
whatever you do, don't walk away from the mic, because he's going to, take over and talk about scratching his belly and just all kinds of weirdness.
He drinks whiskey. I drink scotch.
I drink whiskey.
Well, he was having a field day when you had to go and do something. You left him alone.
Yeah.
On the set. Go.
Yeah, I was having fun.
Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready? Prepare for blast-off.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88. Roads? Well, we're going, we don't need roads.
Remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
This is 80's Reboot Overdrive Podcast.
We were dancing just like Swayze when Jennifer Grey had lost. Oh, how I miss the 80s, but I'm too young to really know. Too young to know.
that is like so dated.
This is 80s Reboot Overdrive, and I am Dave. Online, I've got 80s music girl, Rose.
Hey, y'all, what's up?
What, is that Southern? Was that what you're trying? Southern accent?
Didn't work?
Kind of. I'm used to the British thing.
Oh, hello, darling.
There we go. There we go, love. All right, and 80s Auto Reverse Scott.
Arr.
Arg? Oh my God, pirates. Okay.
I'm down here.
What's going on to this show? We lost control, people.
I'm in Buccaneer territory, so.
Oh, because Rose just brought up football.
Yeah.
I just brought up football.
Where are your Buccaneers? Under your bucket hat?
All right, listener. I'm going to move this along. We're going to continue our Outsiders conversation. We're going to be touching on another 80s icon, and this is a pretty big one, Mr. Tom Cruise. So as we do at the beginning of all of our 80s icon series, we're going to be briefly mentioning his filmography in the 1980s. So, Mr. Tom Cruise in 1981 did Endless Love. Same year he did Taps. 1983 he was in the movie The Outsiders that we're talking about. He's also in Losin It and Risky Business and All the Right Moves. Obviously a busy year for him. 1985, Legend. 1986, a little movie called Top Gun that most people haven't seen. 1986, The Color of Money. 1988, so he actually looked like he took a year off there with 1980. I'm sorry, 1986 falls in line. 1988, Cocktail. 1988, Rain Man. And 1989, Born on the 4th of July. So, Mr. Tom Cruise, we finally got ourselves around to talking about Mr. Tom Cruise. And while I'm so very interested in hearing what Rose has to say about Tom, I'm going to start with Scott. So, Scott, what is your favorite 80s moment with Mr. Tom Cruise?
First, I want to bring up something about you, Dave.
Uh-oh.
And if people have been, listening to the shows throughout the Outsiders series, you may have caught on that Dave is kind of avoiding the Tom Cruise topic because I don't think Dave really likes Tom Cruise very much. I get a slight sense that he doesn't like him, but that's okay. I just wanted to bring that up. So
I'm saving it for my turn.
Okay, so I'm going to say,
but I want to stay on script. Is what I was doing.
Okay. Am I throwing you off track?
No, not at all. No,
okay,
no, that's fine. You can throw me under the bus. Go ahead.
No. Somebody's got to challenge the overlord occasionally.
It's like everybody wants to be in charge. Rose wants to be in charge because we're doing Andrew McCarthy without her, and now you are like challenging me not liking Tom Cruise. It's anarchy. Dogs and cats.
No. Wait. I said I wanted to be in charge because you did that April Fool's 70s thing.
Oh,
and I about leaped out of the window, even though it probably wouldn't have hurt much. But I'm like, no, he's not. Please, God, tell me he's kidding. Because the Bugaloos?
Come on, wasn't that
really?
an awesome? That was an awesome show that he did, though. Like
that was an awesome show. It was classic Dave.
All the drops that he had on there, that was beautiful.
Total classic Dave.
So.
This is why you're the overlord, Dave.
Yep.
I could have never pulled anything off like that with a straight face.
And I love that you were picking me on me about the Boogaloos.
Yeah.
The Boogaloos. The Boogaloos. We're in the air and everywhere, flying high.
I'm not stopping you from singing.
Sorry.
I will.
All right, please.
All right.
We're on Tom Cruise here.
The highlight for me, I don't know. It's a tough call between Risky Business, Top Gun. I'm gonna go Risky Business just because I think it was 83. I think that was like the beginning of the decade, near the beginning of the decade, and there was a lot of movies that really set precedent, and I think Risky Business falls into that teen category that was really just so popular, and just I liked his performance. You know, he was believable, although he was like, you know, the spoiled rich kid, and he did that well. He pulled that off very well. And then the premise of the movie itself is pretty funny, that, you know, he's running a bordello out of his house while his parents are gone for 3 days or something. I don't know. I don't remember how long they were supposed to be gone, but overall, I think Risky Business, I think that was like one of his the better roles that he played. Although I do like a lot of the other ones throughout the decade, so we'll have to delve into that a little bit deeper as we go along. So I'm gonna say Risky Business. Joel.
What was your favorite scene of his in Risky Business? And please don't say the scene where he's dancing around in his underwear.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that that's my favorite scene. But
you were going to say that?
No, I wasn't going to say that that's my favorite scene. I don't know if I can pick out a favorite scene other than when he drives the Porsche into the lake. You know, that was pretty funny. But the scene where he is dancing in his sunglasses and underwear and that shirt, it competes with The Breakfast Club as far as iconic for the 80s.
So,
right?
what do you mean by that?
I think a lot of people can think back to that time. And you say Risky Business, that's the first image that comes into their head.
Yeah, I have to agree with them.
And what song is it?
Old Time Rock and Roll.
And what's the first image that pops into your head when you hear that song now on the radio? Thank you very much, right? It's Tom Cruise.
It's not Bob Seger, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not Bob Seger. It's Tom Cruise. So, it's just it was a moment in history of that style of movie. You know, it's comedy, borderline drama, teen movie, it was so 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It was oozing the 80s. I mean, it was ridiculous. So that's why I'm saying it competes with The Breakfast Club as being one of the most iconic, along with, in my opinion, Valley Girl, Dave.
Okay.
All
right.
I think those three movies are very, very important players in that genre of film, the comedy slash romantic comedy kind of drama thing, you know. So I think it was very important for the era. That's why I think it's as probably, you know. And there's a line in there. Get your beep ready. Sometimes you just gotta say what the f. You know, Joel.
Yeah, that was Curtis Armstrong.
Yeah.
Miles.
Yep. AKA Booger.
Booger, yes. And that leads me to my favorite scene from that is Risky Businesses, and it was actually more Miles than it was Joel, where he's in the back seat of the Porsche and he goes, you know, I've got a midterm tomorrow and I'm being chased by Guido the Killer, you know, pimp.
Guido the Killer Pimp. Joe Pantaleone.
Yes.
Awesome actor. I love him too.
Yep.
As Guido.
So Rose, what's your thoughts on Risky Business?
It was different. The first time I probably honestly just watched it the one time. I had a really difficult time believing that somebody could pull that off. You know, I'm actually was trying to bring it into reality terms, and I'm thinking, there's like no way in hell he could have done that. I'm sorry. I don't care how smooth he thought he was, but...
What, you mean like run a brothel from his house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. His neighborhood was far too upright and forthright for that. Somebody would have called the cops on him like day one. He wouldn't even got the second hooker in, let alone the first one. But it didn't have to be believable because, that's the movies after all. But I don't know. He just, I don't know. He just has always had that cocky arrogance about him. And he just made it work, I suppose. But it was okay. Honestly, I've never revisited it other than the first time. So. But it wasn't horrible.
Wow, what a ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Hey, I do got to throw one quick thing in there. One more thing is those sunglasses, man, in that movie that he wore, the Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
Look around today.
Yeah.
They left for a while, but you look around today, you go to any, Walgreens or wherever you buy your $20 sunglasses, and they are loaded on those racks, and they're still popular today. And I think he's the one that really put them on the map back then.
I don't wear anything else but Wayfarers.
Nice.
Honestly.
Wayfarers. Good Eagles reference.
I know, right?
Or Don Henley, I should say.
Boys of Summer.
Nice.
All right.
So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Talk about
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, Risky Business. Tell us, Dave. How do you feel about Risky Business? Is it risky?
No,
is it risky?
No.
Is it business?
No, well, I just told you my favorite scene.
Yeah.
But I left some of it out, because I want to ask Rose, do you want to talk about your favorite 80s moment with Tom Cruise first, or should I have my Davitorial?
Oh, wow. Did you write?
Dear God, let me talk about my favorite. You
all right.
Watch it, Davitorial. You could
Okay.
do it all night.
It won't be that bad.
Okay, good. It's a toss. It's a toss up. It's a toughie toss up between. Not that I didn't like him in Outsiders, but he really didn't shine a whole lot, so to speak. I mean, you knew he was in there, but I don't remember any major scenes with him in it, to be honest with you. So I go where, he's like front and center, like in Top Gun. Here again, movie I've seen way too many times. And, Rain Man, it's a toss up between those two. The fact that they coupled him alongside of one of the most brilliant method actors in Hollywood, Dustin Hoffman, I thought, dude, who did you smurf to get that role? Oh my God. That is bizarre. I would have never put them in a movie together, ever.
Kmart sucks. Kmart sucks.
Kmart sucks.
Wapner, 3 o'clock. Gotta watch Wapner, 3 o'clock.
So many iconic quotes from that movie. And they all came from Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, they did.
But, truthfully, if you look back, he kind of was the star. But, I think it was a good role for Tom Cruise to play Charlie Babbitt. Just so, that would be one of those movies where you're playing alongside of like your idol or something. I don't know if that was the case, maybe not, but if you were playing alongside of a huge, like, say, John Wayne or somebody like that, you'd be like totally immersed in their character more than you would be your own, because you're like watching everything they do, because they make it look so easy. But he held his own pretty well, I have to admit. But Top Gun, I don't know. Top Gun, it's jets, it's guys, they're hugging and playing volleyball, and Val Kilmer went to buy his face off. It's like, dude, really? Did you even need any women in this movie? Seriously. At some point, I really thought those two were going to make out. I really did. But
him and Val Kilmer?
Yeah. Really.
Okay.
So, but who says they didn't? But it was an excellent movie. It was great for its time, and he played a really good, believable Maverick, which is a really cool name too, by the way. It's Maverick. Not as cool as the original Maverick. If you ever remember the TV show, the Western. That was awesome. But yeah.
So you went both ways with that. So you went Rain Man and Top Gun.
Yeah.
So you're not picking one over the other, huh?
Nope. No,
All right. All right. So Scott, what are your thoughts on Rain Man? We'll pick one at a time here.
I loved Rain Man. I thought it was well done on both parts, actors wise, between Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise. I think they did a really good job of acting out those roles. It was an interesting movie, for sure, and it definitely has a lot of classic lines. However, they were all from Dustin Hoffman. So I think Tom Cruise definitely played the backseat role in that movie, though. Dustin Hoffman stole the show.
Yeah.
Although he did, still, Tom Cruise thought he did a good job of playing Charlie. So, Top Gun?
Okay. Top Gun, what are your thoughts on that one?
Okay, so I had an issue with Top Gun. I remember when it came out, and it was my senior year of high school, and I swear everybody was raving about it like it was the second coming of Christ. Okay, I mean, it was huge. Everybody,
I was going to say the Magnificent Seven, but yeah, okay.
No, seriously, they made it out to be like the most incredible movie ever made in all of history. Just incredible. And so I finally got around to seeing it, and so I had these high expectations of just being blown away. Mm-hmm. And yes, the plane scenes were cool, and it was kind of a fun, quirky movie, some fun lines in it, but I was really disappointed because it wasn't it wasn't living up to the hype that it had gotten. I mean, they even went as far as a sorry, let me try to back up a little bit. At our high school.
Let me pick up one little thing before you even back up a little.
Okay.
I've never in the history of my life heard anybody ever refer to Top Gun as quirky.
Well, it's got a bunch of little quick little lines in it that, he's a sarcastic smartass.
Does that make it quirky?
I don't know. Quirky, maybe that's not the right word.
Okay.
So.
All right, but please go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, at our high school, we had a closed circuit TV program, and on the video, we did a video every week called Campus Update. Okay. And Top Gun was so popular that they actually changed everybody in the cast of. It was like a news show. Okay, it was like they had anchors, news anchors. It was Dan and what was her? I can't remember the other girl's name. Mary. They were the main newscasters on our local Campus Update, right? They even went as far as to dress up like the characters of Top Gun and present Campus Update in like a Top Gun fashion, like it was almost drama. I mean, it was very bizarre. So there was a lot of expectations put on it from everybody else.
Danger Zone playing in the background?
They may have at some point.
Okay.
I'd love to get a copy of that episode of, I'd have to go back and look up for VHS tapes. See if they still have them on VHS. But it was just so pumped up that I was like disappointed in the whole thing. So that's my Top Gun story. That's how I feel about Top Gun overall. Tom Cruise, okay, great. He played a, kind of a cool pilot guy. Now that's a rave review right there.
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely beats out my Risky Business review. Kind of cool pilot guy.
Sorry
cool
for rambling on about that.
No,
it's all good. It's all good.
Good.
We like to share our personal stories. So, Tom Cruise, where to start? Looking at his filmography in the 80s, if I'm relying on Tom Cruise's contribution, I honestly can't pick one. And God, it sounds like I really hate the guy. And the thing is, it's like, I understand that all he is eye candy. All he is in the movies is he presents a ability for a producer, director, or whoever that's in charge of the film to be able to put this very nice looking guy in the center of it, but he doesn't bring anything huge into the storyline. Now, I'll give you an example. Risky Business. There was this big iconic scene where they're going to go confront Lana after, she's stole his stuff or whatever, and he's sitting there in the restaurant and he just waves his finger, and that was kind of it. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the whole moment, was a close-up of his face and him doing that. And if you look at the advertisements for Risky Business, it's his face. It's not what the rest of the movie was about. Fast forward, Top Gun, same thing. You've got just his face. And, Cocktail, it's him on a bar. That's how they advertise it, because he's the pretty guy. He's the draw into the movie. But as far as my favorite moments from any of those films are his co-stars, are the people that are helping him along. Rain Man, we already talked about. Dustin Hoffman. Top Gun, I'm a fan of Meg Ryan and Goose and Val Kilmer. If I'm talking about outsiders, it's pretty much everyone else. I was a big fan of the movie Taps. Loved the movie Taps back in 1981. You guys haven't even talked about that one yet.
You know what? Then I want to do that as honorable mention, because that was an awesome movie. Awesome movie.
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
And I didn't like him at all in that movie. And at that time, when I may have seen it, I was 10, and he didn't bring anything to that movie in my opinion. So I want to like Tom Cruise because I know that everyone else does. But, I don't think, I think other than them putting him front and center because he's a pretty guy, that's why he's there. And the last thing that I've got to say, you can't sing, Tom. If you ever listen to the podcast, you can't sing, buddy. If you get a script in your hand and you have some sort of producer director that says, you know what, we're going to have you sing, please say no. Please.
You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips.
So he does that in Top Gun, and he also he sings with Goose.
Scott, by the way, you did a way hella better. Just so you know.
So I mean, yeah, let's go through the movies. Top Gun, he does that song, and he also does he's singing with Goose on the piano.
He lost that love and feeling. That's the one he was doing.
No, on the piano he was doing.
It was Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh, Great Balls of Fire.
Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
Great Balls. I forgot
and then Cocktail, Hippie Hippie Shake. And I'm sure there's other songs that are in there from those movies, but I'm sorry, man. You can't sing, buddy.
Can we talk about Rock of Ages?
Oh dear God, no.
Because it took place in the 80s.
I have to fast forward past the Tom Cruise scenes.
Okay.
If I'm rewatching that movie.
That was actually horrendous. It was very bad.
Yeah,
my wife and I finished that movie going, oh my God, can I have that hour and 45 minutes back?
There's
you're
so
right.
many people that disagree with you, and I'm not one of them because I refuse to watch it, but I keep getting that. Have you seen Rock of Ages? He did such a really good job. He had like a vocal coach, and before, because he knew he was going to have to. He wanted that part. That part was written for him. And it was like, I don't care if he produced a golden egg and Pavarotti rose from the dead and taught him for 10 years. I am not going to watch that movie.
Don't.
Because I will never be able to get that image out of my head.
Don't do it, Rose.
Never.
Don't. Just run away.
Not gonna.
Run away. Throw the VHS tape down and run away. Oh, I'm sorry. DVD.
Blu-ray,
Don't
whatever
worry.
it is.
It's not gonna happen.
Throw down the USB drive and run.
Yeah. Thanks.
So now that I've lost all of our female listeners.
Okay. I'm gonna say something here, Dave. I agree with you for the most part. Because
for the most part.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say I agree with you pretty heavily. Maybe Born on the 4th of July and Rain Man exceptions to this whole idea. But the rest of the movies from the 80s, you could have put any pretty face in that role and they would have had the same reaction.
Yes.
There's no standout acting performance that says, I'm Tom Cruise, damn it.
Well, not in the 80s, no.
No, later on in life, I think he did do a few others that were pretty good. I think maybe A Few Good Men. I think he was more recognized in that one. And maybe,
I would give you that one. I'd give you A Few Good Men.
Yeah, and even Far and Away was a pretty good movie.
No, let's not go there. Only because, see, this is the thing I've got with, I'm going to give Tom Cruise his bit in the 80s because everybody's got to start somewhere. No one starts off in their career on top because, unfortunately, the only way is down. So, yeah, he made some crap movies in the 80s and he was a pretty boy and he had, the stature and that gorgeous smile. But, if the talent, well, they kind of were some of them.
No, see, I agree with Dave. I don't think they were crap movies. I just think that his role in those movies was not essential. No, it was not essential that it was Tom Cruise.
All right, well,
like
think back to our discussion about Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
Right.
Patrick Swayze, you knew that was a Patrick Swayze role. You knew that here's this guy, as I mentioned before in that podcast, the leader of the downtrodden. There was a Patrick Swayze, and he was that role, and he was memorable in that role. In my beef against Tom Cruise, he doesn't give me that role. That he's everything they put him in, he's the best of something. But it could have been any actor that was the best of something.
As long as he was a pretty boy.
Yeah, exactly.
And who's to say that he didn't suffer because of that? I don't know. I mean, there's quite a few gaps in between movies in the years in the 80s. You think about it. I mean, it has to take a toll on people after a while, I would think. Why am I always being picked to be the good-looking guy?
Well, he is. I mean, he's a very good-looking man. He's got all the nice features that a lot of women are attracted to. So it makes sense,
The personality part. But now see, I don't know. I never saw Endless Love, but apparently, it was all that and a bag of chips. I don't know. Honestly, I probably saw Taps, and I don't think Dave much, to I don't think you're supposed to like him in that anyway. So that's good. He made you not like his character for a reason, because he wasn't a guy. He's kind of twisted and out there. All the Right Moves, I don't know. That's another one of those movies that I kind of went, it's sports. So probably didn't see that. Losing It, I don't know what that one was about. Don't think I ever saw it. Legend.
Wait. Okay. Think about the title. Losing It.
Losing It. Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's not really a thing.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's what the movie's about. Just saying. I'm just trying to give you a quick synopsis. Just think about
I enjoy a movie that's called Losin It, and the character he plays is Woody.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I will say, actually, I like Jackie Earle Haley in that movie.
Don't even know who that is.
Yes, you do. You would know him if you saw him. He was in the Bad News Bears. He was also the I can't remember what his character name was. Rorschach in a recent movie called not Guardians of the Galaxy, The Watchmen.
Oh, they played that guy.
Yes, he's an excellent actor, and he goes far and in between movies, but he's a really good actor. Anyway, so
yeah, he is. Yeah, that's cool.
He was
Breaking Away.
He was in that, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, he had quite a presence about him back then.
Wait, he was in Breaking Away too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Forgot about that one.
But now I'm looking at the synopsis, and now all of a sudden I remember it. The Tijuana one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to add this just because I'm still talking, but.
Is that how we roll?
Yeah, we were rolling like that. I have to add this because of all the things that we've said about Tom Cruise, and of all the things that he's become over the years, if you read IMDb and his biography, you see in 1976, he told a 14-year-old Franciscan seminary student, Tom Cruise, can't even pronounce the last name, the fourth, there were 3 other ones before him, that one day in the not-too-distant future he would be considered one of the top 100 movie stars of all time. He would have probably grinned and told you that his ambition was to become a priest.
Wow.
Is that not scary thought?
Huh.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Ooh, honey, you sure got some good teeth. Smile at me again. Yes, I got lots of sins to confess, child. Let's go talk about some of them. Yeah. I'm sorry. I think Hollywood did him a favor, and a lot of other people too. Sorry. I had to put that out there. Sorry. Anyway.
Father Tom Cruise.
Father
Which
Tom
is
Cruise.
funny because it says a deeply religious youngster.
Yeah.
And eventually, it doesn't say this, but he would eventually become like one of the faces of Scientology.
Yeah. How does that happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I don't know. He's gone through a lot of changes in his life.
So, all right, we're talking about The Outsiders as our, main topic of our series, but there's nothing that Tom contributed to this movie?
I remember the gang fight and him screaming loudly and flexing all his muscles, and that's about it.
Because I know he was in it, but I just don't remember anything that he did in it.
Yeah, his character was not a very high rank as far as how important the role was. Steve Randall. I mean, he was just somebody that was mentioned a few times and jumped into a quick little scene and was part of the scene. That was about it.
Yeah, that and he had really tight shirts on with the sleeves rolled up over his biceps. I remember that.
Okay. So that was his contribution to Outsiders. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really didn't. Yeah, he didn't have a huge role in it.
Mm-mm. Which is weird. Don't you think that's weird?
Well, I mean, if you looked at his filmography, I mean, he wasn't.
It's really only like his third or fourth.
Yeah, it's like his third
film,
movie.
So.
You know,
but he was the lead actor in Risky Business.
That was the same year.
Same year. Yeah.
But, I know.
You know. It depends on when they were produced, I guess. And
this is true. Maybe Outsiders was first, and then he did Risky Business.
Well, I would assume that they were filmed probably around the same time. If they're released around the same time, it's typical. Outsiders was released in March 25th.
Okay.
And Risky Business was released 5th of August.
See,
So,
there you go.
I mean, they're probably being filmed right around the same time.
Yeah, probably.
And I think he just got lucky with Risky Business.
Yeah.
Although he did have the lead role, maybe he just won the audition auction. He won the auction. Can I get a Tom Cruise on?
I'll buy a role in this movie.
All right, so Cocktail. We didn't really talk about that one.
I'll take one. Thank you.
Oh, you will? Okay. Scotch on the Rocks? I got my Scotch.
I'm sorry, I can't talk about Cocktail with a straight face. There's just no way in hell.
Why?
It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous premise for a movie. And throwing poor Brian Brown in there to try and save it, I bet he was glad that they killed him off in the movie. Spoiler alert!
Wow.
If you've never seen it.
He dies? What?
Shut up. You killed the wrong person. Yeah, I don't know.
Young Brian Flanagan.
Okay, Brian Brown. Yeah.
Brian Flanagan was Tom Cruise's character's name.
Brian Flanagan, but Brian Brown played Doug Coughlin, who was his part.
Now, see, once again, my favorite scene from that is more Doug than it is Brian, because he's walking into the bar that Brian is a bartender in the Bahamas or Jamaica or wherever it is that he was at. And he goes, okay, I've never been here before, but I can bet my bottom dollar that Mr. Flanagan has a Secret of Success book underneath the bar. And that sticks with me, and, so Brian Brown, awesome job, he gave that moment, that 80's moment, and, Elizabeth Shue also, attractive in that film.
Always.
And so, those are the moments I remember, and unfortunately, I can't give credit to Tom, because, it could have been anybody in that role, but, and to my point, that I made earlier.
Just another pretty face.
Yeah. But Doug, he made the movie for me.
Yeah. Well, I liked him back then. He was really good. I don't even know if
Brian Brown.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Like
good actor.
FX.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. You want to talk about any others, Dave? Color of Money? All the Right
Color
Moves?
of Money. Yeah. Well, which one do you want to talk about?
I got nothing on either one of them, actually.
I like his hair and Color of Money.
I saw them both, but neither one.
Whoa! You like his hair?
Yeah.
In which one?
Kick ass, dude.
Oh, once again, back to the pretty boy rule.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. They make it really super obvious.
So, I mean, here we go. We go back to the other, another one of those roles where he's the best of something. In this case, a pool hall player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he's not exactly the best.
No, he's the second best.
He needs the best.
He's the second best because Robert Redford is actually the best.
Paul Newman,
sorry. Same
Yeah,
people.
that's it, Robert Redford.
Same guy.
Bite your tongue.
I was waiting for that reaction. No, okay, Paul Newman. No, he was playing second fiddle to him the whole movie, and Paul Newman's character duped him in the end anyway, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
So yeah.
Lesson.
So he wasn't the best.
Yeah. But that's okay.
Still, the up-and-comer with, a bunch of potential.
Yes.
And that's what you see in those movies, whether he's the best or, the one with the best potential of getting out of a jam or whatever it is.
what was the there was a movie of like a music video that went along with that movie, and I'm trying to figure out which one it was.
Whatever the song was for it. I don't know. I only watched it
I'm
like
gonna
once.
find it. I'll find out.
You find it.
All right, so all of us don't have anything on Legend, it sounds like.
Yeah, and
Oh, not necessarily.
go ahead.
Okay, come on, let's hear it.
Hold on. Sorry, I was looking for the soundtrack. For Color of Money. Legend, well, Mia Sarah, Tom Cruise, totally adorable. But my favorite character was Tim Curry.
Tim Curry, yeah.
Darkness. Like, oh my God, do not want to walk into a dark alley and meet up with that guy. He was freaking scary. Man, red six-pack. Wow. Now, honestly, how is Tom going to come up against that? Seriously, he could be pretty all he wanted, but, it's a little difficult to come up. I mean, Tim Curry, I know he doesn't look like that in real life, but, it's the whole, I've got more experience in the field than you do, and I'm going to take my role and make it that much more memorable than yours. Only because I can. So, yeah, I don't know. I might have watched it a couple times, but I know a lot of people think it's like, oh, Legend. Oh. But it was okay. It was okay.
It was okay. All right.
She's getting up there she's getting right there with me on my reviews, my rave reviews.
My rave reviews.
Yeah, you know
okay.
what? Actually, let's do this. Let's go through his filmography in the 80s and the ones that we talked about and put a price point on how much you
Nice. I love the price point. We should have a bumper for that. We should have like a little it's the price point. And then we start. Yeah.
Let's go back to the movies that we talked about. We'll skip over the ones that we didn't spend a lot of time on. And how much would you pay to see Taps again?
Nothing.
Scott.
$3.
Nothing.
I'd go $3. I'd rent it for $3.
$3?
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty good. Because that's like the going rate for most movies on Amazon or so, something like that. About $3.
I might go as high as $2.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the better films, and that had a huge cast in it too. Sean Penn, Timothy, not Timothy Dalton. What's the guy's name? Timothy Hutton.
Hutton.
Yeah.
Hutton.
George C. Scott, for crying out loud.
But no, yeah. I know it was a great cast, and
great cast,
I like the movie. I just, I guess, would I pay more than? I don't know if I'd pay more than $2 for it. That's all.
I'd go $3.
I mean, I've seen it, enjoyed it, so
sure.
That's good. So, all right, so that's how we feel about that. What about Outsiders?
Been actually considering that anyway, so I'd probably pay between $3 and $5 for that one.
3 and 5, so up to 5. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I might have that on DVD though.
I don't want to say this and get everybody excited, but I may have it on VHS.
Ooh.
I just can't seem to locate it at the moment. But it would have been something that I would have thought, ooh, yeah, I need that in my collection. And I would have gotten it, only because, the cast and the premise of the movie warranted it. Having it, it's one of those things, if you don't have it in your collection, you're like, how dare you call yourself a classic movie lover?
Yeah, I'd have to look. I have probably between 250 and 300 DVDs. I'd have to go back and see if I actually have it. I think I do. I think it's in my collection. In fact, I'm going to go look for it as soon as we get done with this podcast.
All right, well, Rose didn't answer the question. If you're looking on demand, how much are you going to pay for Outsiders?
$3.
$3, okay.
On the premise that I already own it. Okay.
Right, okay. I'm with you though. $3, definitely. I don't know. Did we want to put a price point on Losing It? We didn't really spend that much time on it.
No.
No? Okay. Risky business. Scott, what do you got?
I might go $2.
2.
Yeah.
Rose?
Nothing.
Rose, you said nothing. Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe just for Guido, the Killer Pimp, and Rebecca De Mornay, $3. Yeah. Let's see. All the Right Moves. Did we really spend a lot of time on that one?
No, I
No?
don't think we spent any time
Legend.
on it. to be honest with you.
All right. So Legend. Rose,
Nothing.
what do you think?
Nah.
Nothing.
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Nobody would pay a cent to watch Legend. All right.
No.
I'm with you on that one. Top Gun. Rose.
I own it.
Okay. But if you didn't own it, what would you pay?
$2.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Scott?
I'm probably right there with you. I believe I own it too, though. It's hard to put. It's hard to put a price on it when you actually own it. It's a little more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotta say nothing on that one.
No.
Well.
Yep, I've already got my enjoyment out of that movie that I'm going to get. All right, so Color of Money. Scott.
Zip. No.
Rose.
$1.50.
$1.50. And once again, I'm 0. All right. Cocktail. Rose.
Oh, sorry. No. You
Nothing.
couldn't give me that movie. You could not give that to me. I'm sorry. I would not take it. I would chop my arms off first before I would let anything touch me that belonged to that movie. I'm sorry.
Scott. Cocktail.
$1 million.
Yeah, seriously.
No. Actually, I kind of like Cocktail. I thought it was kind of fun. You know, it's a guy chasing his dreams, but even though we talked about how he's just another pretty face in it.
Oh, you just like it for the booze.
I like for Elizabeth Shue. She's very attractive. And booze, yes. And speaking of Cocktail, my glass is empty.
Oh my God.
You should really keep the bottle next to you.
Oh,
Close at hand. Always keep it.
So I might go $2 for that one.
2? All right.
Yeah.
I was thinking around $1.
Nice.
Yep. All right, so we're up to Rain Man. Rose.
I own it. So
right.
I'd pay. If I walked out into my living room and noticed that the VHS was suddenly burst into flames and I no longer had it, I'd be like, man, let me go to the thrift store and buy it off the shelf. On top. $3.
$3.
Can't believe that. Yeah.
All right. Scott, where you at with Rain Man?
If I was going to pay for Rain Man, it would be for Dustin Hoffman's performance, not necessarily Tom Cruise. But I would go like $2 for a rental for that one.
Okay.
For Dustin.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like him as an actor. I think he's amazing. So.
Dustin. All right, and actually, I'm probably in line with you on that one. I would do that for Dustin Hoffman.
Cool.
All right, Born on the 4th of July. We didn't really even tackle that one, I don't think.
No, it's a pretty dark film. You know, it has to do with the Vietnam War, and that can be a very touchy subject for a lot of people, especially, you know, for the vets that were coming back from that time. In certain situations, it's you have to really have a lot of sympathy for what it was talking about. And I actually thought he did a really good job in this movie, and I wanted to bring it up kind of anyway. But I would watch this one again, and I I would probably pay. I don't know. I think I'd rent it for about $4 or $5. I'd be willing to do that.
$5.
And
Wow.
there's a little bit of patriotic feel for me too. Some of those movies. I like to watch some of the movies that tackle what has gone on in some of our military situations, just to be a reminder of what we have now because of the people that have served. Like both of you guys, I salute both of you for being in the service, and I wish I'd done something like that myself. And it just always brings. I just always have a lot of respect for movies that talk about those types of things, military situations. So, sorry.
So you're
totally serious. Totally serious note.
No, I could hear it in your voice. Yeah, thank you.
I really thank you. Yeah, that's a great compliment. But yeah, it's less about the Tom Cruise then, but more around the subject matter.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, like, one of my favorite series is Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, the history that is involved with that is just so fascinating. The scope of it. So a lot of these movies, Born on the 4th of July, or that Mel Gibson movie, We Were Soldiers, or the part of Forrest Gump when he was in Vietnam, and a lot of that stuff just really, it teaches me to be thankful for the freedoms that I have. So.
All right. So you said $5 for Born on the 4th of July. What about you, Rose?
I think I tried watching it, and I couldn't watch it. I'd pretty much only been out of the military for about 1985, so about 4 years, and I don't know, it was difficult. It's like Scott says, very hard movie. It's very, very serious, and I don't know. I could probably go back and watch it now, since there's been such a long time between it. And I would probably, pay $3.50 to see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was his most serious role of his career. Like the most.
Yeah.
Like there was no. He didn't have a lot of sarcastic one-liners.
Yeah.
As comic relief. There was no comic relief in this movie.
No.
Because it was too serious. So anyway, go on, Dave. Your take on it?
Now, I'm thinking back, 1989, I was, at the tail end of that year, I was just joining the Navy. And I think maybe I didn't give this movie its proper due because I couldn't fathom the idea of people not appreciating what the military was doing. And where a good premise of this movie is the way the Vietnam vets felt when they were coming back.
Yeah.
And so maybe it was one of those things where I wasn't ready at that time in my life to tackle that subject, and whether it be Tom Cruise or not. But maybe I lumped it in because it was a Tom Cruise movie, and I was like, well, I'm just not going to like that. But I think maybe it was a subject matter, and I wasn't ready to appreciate the fact, of how, the veterans felt. Because, all that I've ever had in the latter years of, being in the military and having served, and, I've got nothing but appreciation from people. And, to think that there was a time in a period where they didn't feel that same kind of feeling, as a veteran, I didn't live that. I don't know what that felt like.
Yeah.
So maybe it is something that needs to be revisited. Maybe I need to rewatch it where I've grown up enough where I can appreciate that was a time period in the world where that was happening, where people were not fans of Vietnam veterans because they thought they were baby killers or whatever it was,
right.
And, maybe if I took the message of the film a little bit more, versus it being a Tom Cruise vehicle, maybe, so yeah, I've now talked myself into wanting to rewatch it. So yeah, I'd be paying up to $3 now.
So you have seen it though?
I have.
Okay. It's pretty hard to watch for you.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's nothing you go into lightly. This is not a lighthearted movie at all.
No.
So, I think that I almost feel like it's something that people avoid talking about still to this day. How bad, how poorly they were treated coming back from the war, and I still think there's a lot of animosity towards the whole Vietnam War in and of itself. So there's still a lot of opinions that we should have never been there in the first place. And I don't know. I was just barely, I was born in '68, so right in the middle of all that. My dad did serve there, but he was in the Navy, so he was on a gunboat in the rivers. He really didn't see the hardcore action that the Marines and the people, the boots on the ground saw. So, but overall, it's tough to watch, and I think, we try not to talk about it too much because it's a very serious subject, and we're trying to have a fun time here on 80's Reboot, and sometimes those serious subjects are a little tough to talk about. So anyway.
Yeah, so
wow.
I guess we
wrap this up on a really rough note. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we really just went deep with 4th of July there. Wow.
I know there was a lot of movies like that in the 80s. Hamburger Hill,
right?
Full Metal Jacket, The Soldier Story. I mean, it was a little further back, but still, I mean, there's a lot of really massive, really hard war movies, that went on during that time, and they were all brought home a very strong point. But I think this one definitely had a lot more to say, I think, because it was beyond the war, and he was home, and it's what he was experiencing, when he was trying to pull it all together, remembering the time before he went to the war and all of his friends, and so that's definitely
the majority of this movie was not during the war. It was what he experienced after. Or, kind of his motivation before by joining.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, we left one movie out.
Which one?
Endless Love.
Okay. I'm
just saying, because, I mentioned it because it was like one of the first movies he'd done. Did anybody watch it?
I did not.
Okay.
And I'm looking for him in the cast, and he's like that. He must have been a very small role in that, because even Ian Ziering got a higher listing on the cast of Endless than I didn't even know he was in that one. Oh, James Spader's in it too.
I know. See?
Very cool.
He's like right up there towards the front.
But I don't see. Let's see full cast. Tom Cruise was Billy.
Was he the boyfriend though?
No.
Okay, who was the boyfriend?
Martin Hewitt.
Because
those are the two
okay.
top bills.
I don't know who Martin Hewitt is.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have a picture, so he mustn't have done anything else.
I'm sure I could probably.
Oh, he has done a few things.
Oh, he was in General Hospital.
So, have you seen Endless Love, Rose?
No, I haven't.
Scott?
I'm assuming that wasn't the song about that movie, or was that
Endless Love? Was that a Diana Ross?
Diana Ross, yeah.
Diana Ross and who?
Lionel Richie.
Lionel Richie. Oh, Lionel. Hello.
Hello.
Is it me you're looking for?
So we talk about this movie because of the song?
Yeah.
No, we're just talking about it because we didn't talk about it. Okay.
Oh, okay, fine, all right, fair enough.
Okay.
The only reference that I can recall.
None of us have seen it.
No, none of us have seen it.
So anybody out there in podcast lands has seen Endless Love and can contest to Tom Cruise actually being in it and what he did in it, please write us at 80's Reboot Overdrive, Post Office Box 999, Syracuse, Illinois, 65197. Okay?
Or Twitter at 80's Reboot. Or
email
email 80sreboot@gmail.com.
Do it the easy way. Yeah. Keep those cards and letters coming, folks.
All right, so like we always do on these shows, what's your final thoughts on Tom Cruise in the 80s? We'll start with Scott.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say just another pretty face.
Thank you.
However, the movies that he was in played a very important role in the genre of 80s movies. If you're looking
I'm not going to argue that point.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But overall, just another pretty face.
You're right. A lot of things that, have a significant iconic, I don't even know how to say it, very iconic for the 80s, are movies that he's been in. My argument is, did it have to be him doing it? So I guess that is my final thought. Rose, what do you think?
I am pretty much going to say that I believe that the movies that Tom Cruise did in the 80s was a catalyst for him to become a better actor for the future. I think he had to play those roles, so to speak, if he wanted to get anywhere. And not everybody has that opportunity. You get stuck in a pretty boy role, so to speak, and that's pretty much where you stay. But I honestly think the drive within him made him want to be a better actor. So, kudos for him for having a presence in the 80s, albeit however handsome he was back then. But I'm not saying that that's a reason to warrant him accolades. What I am saying is there's two sides to every story, and I think he paid his dues by being that pretty face.
So based on your final thought, do you think that he's become a better actor?
Yes, I really do.
Which movies do you think that he was a better actor in?
What, in the 80s?
Oh, no, beyond.
Oh, in his filmography.
Yeah. So if we were to look at...
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm challenging your final thoughts.
Fine. Bring it, brother. Few Good Men, Interview with a Vampire, Mission Impossible, never saw Jerry Maguire, don't want to see it. Forget Eyes Wide Shut, Vanilla Sky. Minority Report, Last Samurai. Sorry.
So all of those you think he was better than he was in the 80s?
Absolutely. Valkyrie. Valkyrie was excellent if you ever saw that.
You said Eyes Wide Shut in there, didn't you?
I said forget Eyes Wide Shut and Vanilla Sky.
Oh, okay. But you said Jerry Maguire, though.
I said he probably wasn't Jerry Maguire. I just never saw it.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. All right. Yeah, Few Good Men. To me, that's definitely one that I like Tom in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he did a good job with that one.
I liked him in Minority Report, like Rose said. Also, that was a good one. I also did like him in War of the Worlds. So.
Okay.
In that one.
But I think that's my sci-fi lover coming out in me, and I just love those types of movies. So Minority Report, War of the Worlds, they were both in that genre. So.
Oh, Tropic Thunder. Almost forgot about it. Scroll up far enough. Nice. Tropic Thunder, Jack Reacher. Yeah, it listed, if you ignore Rock of Ages, Edge of Tomorrow, that was another good one. So, yeah.
Rock of Ages.
I think the more physical he got in his movies, I think the better he became. And his action movie roles, kind of speak for themselves.
Okay, now, I'm sorry, but I'm looking at his IMDb. Is there going to be a Top Gun 2?
What?
God, I hope not. I mean, sure. Why not? No.
Look at his IMDb. Look at the actor credits.
Okay.
Hold on. Does it say 2017?
Look at above 2015, between 2015 and 2016.
Hold on.
Am I
lost
reading
the
that
page.
wrong?
I shut the page down already.
Am I reading that wrong? Top Gun 2 announced.
Oh yeah, my
goodness.
IMDb crap out. Upcoming projects: The Mummy.
Oh. Val Kilmer be in it too?
Go down a little bit more. Go down a little more.
Yeah, he's in it.
Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Real life.
Okay. Didn't we really get enough? Everything that needed to be said about Top Gun, wasn't that already covered?
No, because
a
it's
Top
a
Gun
new
2?
era. Yeah, we do. Sure, why not?
This goes back to my whole debate around the remake movies.
Okay, wait.
But we don't know how they're gonna spin that.
Can we
Okay,
step back for a second? I'm reading about this Top Gun 2.
I didn't read about it. I just saw the announced.
Okay, so it's there's a reason why it was only announced and it's not in production. Tony Scott was setting up this film project as his next directorial project, but sadly, a day before he was scheduled to meet with Tom Cruise about the project, he committed suicide, leaving the project unknown in its development status. So, according to the project's producer Jerry Bruckheimer, the project is still in the works to happen. It's still kind of up in the air, it looks like. So, we'll see.
Wow, that's crazy.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate because you wanted Top Gun 2?
No, just, it's sad when people take their own lives. I mean,
I'll give you that.
That's some weird, that's, I can never wrap my mind around it, so that's...
all right, that's going to take us down a rabbit hole.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, really deep again. We don't need to do that. So, all right, so...
Rock of Ages. How about that Rock of Ages?
Social media credentials. Go ahead, Rose.
80's Music Girl. Twitter at 80's Music Girl. Facebook at 80's Music Girl. Where am I on? Instagram? Yeah, 80's Music Girl.
You do that every time.
I do.
Okay.
I always forget.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're on Instagram. You gotta remember that.
Okay. Not bad.
Well, that's okay. It's all good. I love you.
Oh, bless your heart. Ditto.
Scott. Aw. Scott, social media credentials, go.
Twitter at 80's Auto Reverse and Twitter at Scott's Eye. Sorry. And on Facebook at 80's Mixtape Auto Reverse.
All right, I am Dave, and I take care of our 80's Reboot accounts. So that's at 80's Reboot on Twitter and 80'sreboot.tumblr.com. Email is 80'sreboot@gmail.com. We have a blog that's southgatemediagroup.com/80'sreboot. And I think I'm forgetting something. But the most important part of all of that is making sure you give us a rating and review on iTunes. So please go out there and do that. And I will take full credit if you want to bash us for not being Tom Cruise lovers. So if you're going to go out there and give us lower stars because of that, that's all because of me, and I'll take that credit. That, and I also love to hear the emails that you may want to throw our way about not being a fan of Tom Cruise at 80'sreboot@gmail.com. With that, we appreciate everybody reliving the 80s, and have a good night.
Bye.
See you later.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80's Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80's Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80's Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s.